Now, before we get into the downloading and installing, let's talk a little bit about how we got where we are. Now, my own interest in deep learning and AI started in 2018 when NVIDIA launched the RTX cards. These are GPUs that are capable of doing incredible work in image creation. These GPUs had two significant new technologies. One was called deep learning supersampling. The other one was called the tensor cores. Now, deep learning supersampling was used in games to create images in games in real time using artificial intelligence. It's a type of deep learning, and it's used specially in NVIDIA graphics cards to create images just using artificial intelligence. Speeds up games tremendously, so you can play a 4K game at maximum speed without having the most powerful card in the world. The other aspect of this new technology was tensor cores, and tensor cores allow you to do the calculations required in artificial intelligence at ferocious speeds. A couple of years after the launch of RTX cards, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal, and this article created what's now known as Huang's law. And Jensen Huang is the visionary CEO of NVIDIA, and he had this idea that you could accelerate computing by a couple of times every couple of years using artificial intelligence. And we could use that to replace what's known as Moore's law, which was a similar idea, but which relied on physical improvement to computing hardware. We can now do that. And I've seen the numbers for gaming. We are able to achieve Huang's law in gaming, twice the performance every couple of years at the same price using artificial intelligence. Now, a couple of years after that, there was a very interesting paper published at NVIDIA. This was the generative learning trilemma. This is a very interesting idea. It suggests that there are three types of models for creating images, and each of those types has got a unique combination of strengths and weaknesses. Now, the models that are mentioned in this trilemma are the variational autoencoders, and the generative adversarial networks, and then the denoising diffusion models. Now, it suggested a solution, which was the denoising diffusion GANs, but that ended up not being the actual solution to the trilemma. We use all of these models even today. The solution to the trilemma actually came from these guys, the Computer Vision and Learning Group. These are in Germany, and they created a method that we still use today. And that method is called high-resolution image synthesis with latent diffusion models. Now, we still use latent diffusion. The mathematics is a little bit complicated, but what we need to know is that the latent diffusion design allowed us to have diffusion models that ran very quickly. Latent diffusion then evolved into what's now called stable diffusion, and we've been using that for the last 2 years. And all of the developments that have been occurring really have been occurring since that paper was published a couple of years ago. Things are moving at an incredible speed in generative AI. Now, more recently, the developers of that particular technique, latent diffusion, worked on another technique called the scaling rectified flow transformers. These guys are able to create very large image sizes, and the researchers who created this technique were the same researchers who worked on stable diffusion and latent diffusion. This is where we get stable diffusion 3 from, and this is also where we get the new model from. The flux models are a form of scaling rectified flow transformer. They are among the best models that you'll find in the world. Now, the flux models are, in my view, easily the best models for creating images out there. They're capable of creating a very wide range of images, and they have the ability to create extremely high resolution. And by high resolution, I don't mean just huge images that are kind of wishy-washy. They have intense amounts of detail if you want them to, and they can master a huge range of styles. We've got also benefits of having relatively good anatomy. There are improvements that can be done, but these are easily the best that I've seen of all the AI models for image creation. What's more, we've got 3 different models. There is the Pro version, which is available on the websites where it is actually being hosted. There's the Dev model. We're going to be taking a look at that one. That is a non-commercial model that we can download and experiment and research with. Then there's the Schnell model. There's a very German feel to some of these names. This one is available on the Apache 2.0 license. We can do a lot under that license. So we're going to be taking a look at these models, and by the end of this, I hope you are going to be completely amazed at what these models can do.